Now I'm joined at this hour by Charu Sharma, cricket commentator and senior journalist, KR Nair from Dubai. Charu, to you first. You must be really happy today that Royal Challengers has won and their strategy punt paid off.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not overdo the strategy as far as T20 is concerned. It really is just a toss-up of a coin. But of course, all of Bangalore and as many fans around the world, because of the kind of cricketers they've generally had, apart from the Indian captain, will be delighted. It's a marathon though, Rika, so watch it. It's not just a 100-meter sprint. Plenty of matches still to go. It's always nice to start on a winning note, just the psychology of it all. Now, the Sunrisers are a pretty good team, and I suspect that they are at least as good as RCB, and we'll see how far these two teams go. They've been very up and down in terms of their performance over the last few seasons. They are, SRH is either winning or coming last. But yes, I focus on the psychological here. It's fabulous to begin a tournament, get a win, and, you might say it was only 10 runs, but it could have gone either way till pretty late in the match. Yeah, the fans will be delighted. They have very little to cheer, the RCB fans, for many years now. And this will just calm the fans down a bit, and I dare say some of the team members as well, and particularly the captain.
Right, Mr. Nair, do let me know what's the way forward for Rashid Khan. We saw him have a nasty fall on the pitch. Does he have to undergo a concussion test now to come back into the team and play the next match?
He will have to undergo a test, as far as we have been able to understand. But it was unfortunate. A basic rule of running between the wickets was not followed. You take your eye off you keep your eye, but also that is exactly what happened. So what will follow? It's a very bad collision, and actually that fall of Rashid was also we should say the fall of Sunrisers.
Charu, Sunrisers were 3 for 121 and then they lost all their wickets for 153. Would you say that they missed Kane Williamson today in the middle order?
Oh, without doubt. But remember, you can only play 4 overseas players. And, Mr. Nair mentioned Rashid, but also let's not forget Mitch Marsh, who took virtually no part in the match because of his injury. So, and, he's been a little inconsistent for Australia, but there's no doubt that he's a fine all-rounder and can win matches single-handedly as he has in the past. So that, too, was a very big loss for the Sunrisers. We can look for many reasons, ifs and buts. But, eventually you have the team you have and you've got to carry on with it. You can't predict injuries. I mean, they are insult upon injury. Or should we say they're like, chili on wounds. But yeah, I mean, Sunrisers had the match in the bag for a very long period, and there were some groups of people watching this. And if Bairstow goes, it could get pretty interesting. Right. There's no doubt that the middle order was today underperforming for the Sunrisers.
Also, David Warner's wicket was a freak wicket. It was an unusual way for Warner to get out. But before we go further into the discussion, let's have a look at the scorecard of the day. What happened in the first innings was that RCB managed to get 163 runs. Padikkal scored 56. AB de Villiers scored 51. Aaron Finch scored 29, Kohli 14. The pick of their wicket takers was Vijay Shankar with 1 for 14. And then on the bottom, you see Bhuvaneshwar Kumar not having picked up any wickets, but he had a phenomenal economy rate of 6.24. Now, here's the other scorecard of the Hyderabad team. Well, Hyderabad managed only 153 runs. They were all out for 153. In fact, Johnny Bairstow scored lion's share of those runs, 61 runs he scored, followed by Manish Pandey, who scored 34. The top wicket taker, of course, on that list, you see Yuzvendra Chahal. He took 3 wickets for 18 runs. And also Navdeep Saini, having managed 2 for 25. Shivam Dube taking 2 for 52. Well, let me go back to Charu Sharma. Charu, we had a young performer today in Devdutt Would you say that this was always expected from Devdutt Padikkal, given the way he has performed in the domestic circuit?
He is a wonderful talent and a lovely young boy. Remember, he's from Karnataka, from Bangalore, and all of us tend to sort of know him really well when he was a little boy and onwards. And I just must quickly add that he is, well, of course, he's worked very hard on his own, but he's also a product of the Karnataka Premier League, which for the moment is unfortunately not continuing. But the truth is that it has prepared a lot of Karnataka youngsters for very high-level cricket. Visible performances and all the pressure that comes with performing in visible circumstances. So, you know, these state leagues need to be encouraged. Yes, perhaps you can argue that they need a little bit of extra vigilance or governance, but they need to be encouraged because Devdutt Padikkal is one such example. Many others. The Punjab team is stuck full of wonderful Karnataka players. He's been a fabulous talent, a very cool head, mind you. That's his biggest asset. Wasn't a very strongly built boy, but he's worked on his physique a bit. He's very tall, can hit the ball a long way, but he's strong mentally. And as today's knock proves, and as I hope he will prove through the rest of the tournament, he chooses the right ball for the big hit. Now, you know, things can go wrong, or south, God forbid, but he's extremely talented, still very young, lots to learn, a man to watch out for.
Mr. Nair, Charu says that Padikkal is a man to watch out for. Would you say the way he played today also partly because on the other end he had Australian captain Aaron Finch and the way they were interacting with each other, it seemed that Finch was mentoring him?
Yeah, you should understand that a youngster playing in his first IPL, to make the Finch be his second partner, play a support role, shows the talent in this boy. The way he picked, he has a straight stance. He almost resembled the style of Yuvraj Singh when he in certain strokes. So he has a long way to go. And as he said in halfway through, that he had a big influence from Kohli because he told him that whoever bowling to him shouldn't matter. The way he bats is winner. So what he was doing is concentrate on the ball and play a beautiful shots. So that is what he did today.
Charu, we also have to talk a little bit about the ageless wonder, AB de Villiers, the way he scored 51 runs off 30 balls. Would you say that, you know, him going away from international cricket is a big miss?
Well, I mean, he's my personal all-time favorite as a player, not just as a batsman, because he brings so much more to the cricket field. And yes, I think he was the big difference between the two sides. I mean, with all due respect to Devdutt Padikkal, it is a little easier at the top. There's a lot more freedom. There's, of course, the power play as well. You have only two fielders outside in the first 6 overs. But AB coming much later, or ABD as we all know him, that was a very special knock. You know, the final acceleration not only provides you runs, but again, I deal with psychology here, Rika. It makes the team go back into the dugout or to the dressing room thinking, gosh, I'm glad we've done all of this. And they come back much stronger. The bowlers feel, oh, we've got another 15, 20 runs to bowl to. So that was a very invaluable knock. And it may not have been as adventurous as ABD is known for, but, you know, it's only the first match. Give him more time. And yes, you are right. It's a massive loss to international cricket for South Africa particularly. And he has been a little in and out saying, well, I've retired now. Or if South Africa need me, I'll be back again. But I think, you know, the body does, and especially when you've used it as strongly as ABD has, the body does tend to tire. And maybe he'll just play these leagues around the world, certainly the IPL, but I don't think he's going to come back for South Africa, which is a shame because they certainly could still use him.
Mr. Nair, before I wrap up the discussion, I'll have to ask you about another South African in the RCB ranks, Chris Morris. He was bought for 10 crore rupees, not played today. Do you think it was a good decision on the part of Royal Challengers Bangalore not to have fielded him in the very first game?
I didn't get you. Can you please repeat it, please?
Charu, can you take that question?
Well, yeah, I say once again, and do please see if you can get Mr. Nair's audio back. As you said, there's very little time. But you can only play 4 overseas players, and I suppose they depended on the experience of Dale Steyn, who was still bowling at 145, and Chris Morris couldn't quite fit in. But they will use him very extensively because he can not only bowl very quick and accurately, but he can also bat rather well. He's quite a gifted all-rounder. So they will use him. I think maybe he arrived a little late, or maybe they said, well, you know, we've got enough options right now, but he's going to be a very valuable member of RCB as they go along.
Right, he is valuable indeed. He's been bought by them for 10 crore rupees. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the show this evening.